Hey guys, I thought I would make this video real quick because I was taking a look at this Victor HD-9300 VHD player that I just got in from Japan. It has an interesting fault to it that I just discovered the solution to, and I want to get this on camera to help others who are facing the same problem. So, get this thing, press play. Let the disc spin up, and I'm going to transfer your attention to the monitor. Yeah, do you see what the issue there is? I hope you can. Yeah, look at that picture. It is swiggling about. There are color bands. It is just a mess. The audio is good, at least, despite the, in spite of the, noise from the bad, sync creeping in. But like, otherwise, I can tell if the audio is working. So I bought this under the description on Yahoo Auctions said that it was tested, but it had the black and white issue, and that did turn out to just be the bad C453. So I replaced that with a 68 picofarad capacitor, and that brought the color back somewhat. But we still got this, and I was scratching my head like, what the heck else, could be wrong with this thing? Well, I'll show you what, I've been doing. Get the player on its side, which I discovered just today you can do. You just gotta be very careful. You have something spinning at like 900 RPM there. It's not heavy like a laser disc, but it still, should get some respect when you're handling it. And yeah, the stylus is still tracking, which I was kind of surprised by. I had no idea what to expect, but yeah, since the on these players, since the disc is like clamped down basically, unlike CED where it more just rests on top of the turntable, you can get away with just putting this on the side. So that's cool. That's nice. Okay. I think I should get these puppies out so you can see the board, since my lighting here isn't good for recording. So this is the main board here. This is where the microcomputer is, and I couldn't tell you what else. You got your on-screen display generator somewhere. Lord knows, how these things work. There's no service manual to these things, so any electronic repair you do, you're just kind of winging it. And over here, that board right there is the video and the soundboard. It's where all that gets modulated and processed and spat out through composite or coax there. But we're going to look at this board here, the main board. Oh, you didn't get that. This disc is skipping. Let me skip to the next chapter. So where that ceramic capacitor that goes bad and causes the black and white error, that's right here in this. So it's like part of the supporting components for this IC here. And there's a bunch of, frequent passive components, like more capacitors. I see an inductor. But I see some variable inductors, I think they are. There's like one there, then one there. So these will all be used to like tune frequencies and all that good stuff. A trick that I picked up from 12-volt vids here on YouTube is if you go and wet your finger, make sure your finger's clean, you don't have grease on it or whatever, and you just kind of, put it around just to see how, sometimes it's just good just to see what certain circuits will do when you added more capacitance to them. It's the capacitance when you wet your finger. So I'm going to just demonstrate that with the camera pointing at the TV so you can see what happens. So if I put my wet finger on C453, which had to get replaced on this. It does that. It completely cuts out the color and has that little ghosting thing. If I put it over T452 here, if I just lightly touch, yeah, it just goes bonkers. So that's telling me that this, but if I can get it just right, nah. Okay, let's try that again, because yeah, if you put too much pressure on that variable component with your wet finger, the player will just end up cutting out. But what I know is that I can get the picture to stabilize a bit by applying just light enough force there. So I figure that, okay, I guess that component is kind of crucial to whatever issue we have here with the color bands and the sync and all that. So this board is held in by clips, and there's a little screw too that's right next to like the heat sink with the bridge rectifier and like the power transistors. So undo that screw and undo these clips around the perimeter here. And you can swing the board out like that. Get a flat blade screwdriver and yeah, line it, with the slot on T452. Okay, so with the monitor just in frame, and I turn this T452 one way. The picture's stabilizing. Am I making it worse? Nope, I'm making it better. Yeah, look at that. So I'm tuning this. I think it's an inductor. I'm tuning this until the color comes back, and we basically have a picture again. Yeah, look at that. The on-screen displays were also ghosting a bit, but now they're no longer doing that. So we got our color back. So clearly this part of the board here is very important to the color, how these machines process the color. So that was just another case of like one of these components going out. Incidentally, back like 4-ish years ago, I was talking to a guy in the Laserdisc group who was letting go of some VHD players. He's the guy I got my working 9300 from like 4 years ago, and he had a couple of these that had like that similar issue. And I remember he told me, "Oh, yeah, thank you. I found like by tuning this one inductor, I was able to get the color back." I'm like, "Oh, that's grand, Well, I never had to deal with that until now, so now I know what the heck he was talking about. It was that T452 there. If you come across one of these where you got that banding and like the picture's really off, try tuning that to see if you can get the color back, because he did that on like 2 other players of his, and he got the color back on those. So I guess, yeah, that's another known issue on these. Now we got the ceramic cap, and now we have to check the adjustment on that inductor. I'm pretty sure I'm going to just call it an inductor because that makes sense to me. While it's out, let's see, here's a ground point. Curious if I can scope some of the signals. Like what the heck were we doing? So I'm going handheld for this, so apologies for the shaky cam, because I got to multitask. So just off that inductor there, one pin, So, that's another. So yeah, that's obviously dealing with some. So it makes sense that turning it one way or the other is going to affect the color to such a degree. I think it's more important now for me just to let this thing play for a little while longer. But I would really like, now that I know I can set it on its side like this, I'd really like to scope some of the signals on this board here just to get an idea of, like, at least something of how these things, what some of the signals on this should look like. Yeah, unfortunately, because we have to put the camera over here, and I'm just kind of more messing about at this point, and I just wanted to show the fix to that because I felt I was pretty lucky that I found that as quickly as I did. But yeah, so just I guess just a recap, no pun intended. Put the light back on. I just did the wet finger trick around here after replacing the ceramic cap that went bad. I put this up against my transistor tester, which tests any component, and yes, this did go open, so this had to get replaced. After replacing that and found out I still had an issue, I just wet fingered this area since I knew from experience of that capacitor going bad that this deals with color, and I ultimately found that variable inductor, being crucial to the operation of the color. So I just tuned it, and lo and behold, color's back, looking good. I do prefer using these higher-end Victor players for like archiving and all that. Yeah, and it's even handling it pretty good. So yeah, I'm going to call it there. Again, if you come across one of these later Victor models and the color's, wonky like what you saw there with the bands and all, try tuning that cap again. I mean, that inductor again. It just has to be already loaded in and playing before you can put it on its end like that, because otherwise this is going to fall out and it's going to scrape against the turntable, and that's going to be horrible. You're going to not have a good time. This is why it's good if you get lots. You get a bunch of discs you don't like. Well, there you go. There are your discs for testing on these units. That's going to do for now, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope this helps you, and have a fantastic day.